Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back. Now, at the last minute, I'm having a mild panic attack. These links and keeping track of all this is just something else. So there are 17 people here. So that means somebody got it. I got something right. So if I'm really distracted, it's because I got messages coming in, people asking me for links. Let's see. Okay, sounds like she got on. So sorry about that, everybody. I'll get Paige going here and then I'll check back on my email and see if there's anybody else out there struggling that is needing help. So if you are here and you have the correct link and you know somebody who is maybe struggling and trying to get on, please do share that link with them. All right, so let me get on track here. Good evening and welcome back to the summit. Whether you're joining us live tonight or you're catching the replay between life and real responsibilities, I want you to know this space was created especially with you in mind. By now, it's Thursday. You may be already having some breakthrough and some miraculous shifts. That is our wish. We've already heard some powerful stories, learned new perspective, and maybe even felt a few internal nudges that we didn't expect. So tonight is not about perfection. It is really more about slowing down just enough to listen to your body, to your emotions, and to your intuition. The voices that you'll hear this evening aren't here to overwhelm you, to tell you what you should be doing. They're here to remind you that healing doesn't happen all at once, that it happens in moments of awareness, in moments of honesty, and it happens most importantly by choice. So you're not left behind, you didn't mess anything up, you showed up, and that's what matters. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, stay present. Let tonight meet you exactly where you're at. And we are so honored that you are here with us. So please help me warmly welcome Paige to the presentation. She is a compassionate mental health therapist who has a rare gift for meeting people exactly where they are, without pressure, without judgment, and without needing them to have the right words. She works with teens and adults who are working through depression, anxiety, grief, loss, and even that quiet, heavy weight that may have suicidal thoughts attached. Many times it's that unspoken. What makes Paige's work so powerful is her gentle, grounded presence. She creates a space for honest conversation that reminds people sometimes, for the first time, that they are not broken, they are not weak, and they are not alone. We are honored to have her voice here at the MonDak Summit. Welcome, Paige.
Hi, guys. So first off, Paige, and Tanya and I have talked a little bit today, and I'm just going to start out that I sit in front of this computer all day, every day, talking to people. But it is much different when the focus is on me. So, you may see some anxiety that's going to pop up. So I may be working on my own breathing techniques out there. And I know I've got some therapist friends out in the viewing area here, and they're probably also saying the same thing. So July marks my year 25 of being a therapist. And that is kind of crazy to say out loud. And I've been in mental health for over 30 years. So I'm going to start today because I really wasn't sure what I wanted to talk about. And then as my anxiety has creeped in this week, I changed it up a little bit. So imposter syndrome, that is what I'm feeling right now, along with mild panic, anxiety. So I wanted to kind of go over what anxiety is in layman's terms. And I'm cheating um, by, I have a little PDF. So I'm going to read these things. And I'm old, so I'm going to grab my glasses. The PDFs will also be available. I only have two. But in layman's terms, common anxiety. And this is from my friend ChatGPT. Constant worry or feeling on edge, even when nothing seems to be specifically wrong. Racing thoughts that are hard to slow down. We often hear as a therapist, man, I just can't keep my thoughts in order. I'm all over the place. And whether that is for the us then as a therapist, is that an anxiety thing? Is that a depression thing? Is that an ADHD thing? Feeling restless, tense, or unable to relax. Anxiety also has some physical symptoms such as fast heartbeat, tight chest, shortness of breath, sweating, and upset stomach. These are all things that are going on right now. Trouble sleeping, waking up, feeling exhausted, hard to go to sleep, stay asleep. It looks like you have had a fight in your bed because you're restlessly moving around. Difficulty concentrating, feeling easily distracted. Uh, Avoiding people, places, situations because they can be overwhelming. A lot of times, people who are struggling with anxiety they'll agree to meet you. Hey, that sounds great. Let's do coffee. Let's go to a movie. And then they're like, nope, not ready to do that. Feeling irritable and annoyed. Anxiety is our body's alarm system. It's meant to protect you, but sometimes it stays turned on too long and then it goes off and there's no real danger. So one of the biggest things, and we learned this if you tuned in last night, I can't remember which one said it. I think probably a couple people talked about breathing. Just take time to breathe. We're all breathing right now. I'm still breathing right now. But sometimes we need to take a deep breath. And that means sitting up straight, breathing in through our nose, exhaling through our mouth. So that's what I'm going to do to try and regulate myself. Because what that does is it slows down our brain, slows down our thought process. It helps to regulate our blood pressure. So, imposter syndrome, I also mentioned that. That is gaining more and more credibility out there in the world. I have worked all over. I've worked with kids, I've worked with adults, I've worked in psych hospitals, worked in prison. That's where I met some of my people who are in the viewing room. Never thought that I would like working in a prison. It was great. But coming out of working in a prison and coming back into doing like mental health therapy, I had never heard of imposter syndrome, again, because I'm old. Been doing this for a long time. So imposter syndrome is, even though you've been doing something for a long time, you don't fully sometimes believe like you have all of the answers. I many times have also said to myself, people pay me to tell them what to do? What is wrong with this world? I have a lot of knowledge, but that doesn't mean that I have all of the right answers for the person sitting across from me. So I'm going to go in and talk briefly about depressive symptoms. Again, my friend ChatGPT in everyday terms. Feeling sad, empty, numb most of the day. Losing interest or pleasure in things that you used to enjoy. Having low energy, feeling physically and mentally drained. And I'm sure some of you people are out there right now like, oh, that's me. Changes in our sleep. Same thing about anxiety. A lot of these are the same symptomology. Our job as therapists, gathering more information, which one fits your criteria. Changes in our appetite or our weight. Feeling hopeless, helpless, worthless. Feeling guilty. Feeling like we're a burden to others. We just keep things to ourselves because everybody else has stuff going on. Difficulty focusing, making decisions, or remembering things. Those sounded oddly familiar as an anxiety too. Also withdrawing from friends and family. Same stuff. Depression is more than just feeling sad. And I tell people this all the time when people come in, and a lot of people self-diagnose. Google is our friend, right? I use Google. If the doctor or I can't get into the doctor, I'm going to chat GPT. I'm going to Google. I'm going to explore the things like, oh, they say that I could have a cold. They say I could have COVID. I could have, all kinds of things going on. But this is the deal. Go check those things out. Later in here, I'm going to talk about the reasons why we don't go to therapy, but also the reasons why we should. We, as a therapist, we spent time, we've been doing this for a long time, lots and lots of hours. In fact, people don't know this, so I also like to share it. Whether you're a therapist or a licensed clinical social worker, you have to have a certain amount of hours of practice that is supervised by somebody. So long before we get to hang our little deal out saying that we are licensed or taking new people, we have to have like 3,000 hours of face-to-face contact with somebody. And that's a lot. So also, again, as I said on there, we all have anxiety. It's natural. We all experience depressive symptoms. It does not mean that we have a major depressive disorder. It's when it's starting to interfere with your work, your friendships, your marriage, your other relationships out there within other family, and the criteria. Then it becomes a disorder. So anxiety, to have a generalized anxiety disorder, it is 6 months that you have been struggling with this, not just a couple, quote, bad days. Depression, it is 2 weeks continually of struggling with those things that I just talked about. The feeling sad more than half the time, the changes in your appetite and your sleep, and feeling hopeless, helpless, worthless. So, I also found this on Facebook the other day, and I thought it was kind of cute, so I'm going to read it. It says, what depression can look like. Some stay curled up under blankets. Some clock in and smile. Some lose their hunger. Some just eat to feel. Some cry loud. Some cry silent. Or some go silent. Some take medication. Some don't. Some are held by community, and some feel like ghosts in a crowd. It's not always loud. It's not always visible. And it's not always what you imagined. So tread gently. Don't assume. Don't judge. Because pain doesn't always wear a warning label. And that is so true. One of the things also, I'm not gonna get on my soapbox about suicide prevention, but here in my own little town, literally, I could probably with a good arm throw across the back alleyway. We had a teen that took their life. Suicide happens every single day. Almost every person that you know has been affected at some level on suicide. People don't ask for help, but we need to be there to listen. You don't have to be suicidal to have somebody listen to you. Ask for help. So, I'm also going to say these are some of the reasons why people don't come to therapy. It costs a lot of money. I think about that myself when I have thought about, okay, wait a minute. Hey, I need to go and talk to somebody. Ooh, I can't always justify that. We need to justify that. In most insurances take or are now covering therapy. That has not always been the case. So check your insurance if you have insurance. If you find a provider, ask them, hey, do you take self-pay? Or can we work on a sliding fee scale? Most providers are willing to do that. But why people don't come to therapy is also that the stigma. Oh, you're in therapy, so that means that you're crazy. No, it doesn't. It means that you are taking responsibility and accountability for you. And this one I hear a lot. I'm fine. I got this. I even hear that every single day that I log into work. I'm fine. How are you doing today? I'm fine. No, we're not all fine. We're not all fine all of the time. So, cost. I want to go back to that one briefly because this is something that when I was trying to, come up with some things to talk about, Tanya and I talked about how much that we do for other people, and I kind of want to focus in. There's usually more women involved in things like this, but that doesn't mean that men don't have mental health issues. And I think that Tanya already talked about that the other day, just reaching out and asking for help. But what do you spend on coffee a day? I'm not a coffee drinker, but I'm pretty sure if you go to one of the coffee places, you're paying $7 to $10. Most people get a coffee every day. It's $70. What do you pay for your kids' sports? When I was in school, which seems like a long time ago, sports for the most part were free. You had to pay $20 for your student activity card, but you didn't have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars and travel. You're doing those things for other people. Do those things for yourself. So there's also some misconceptions and stuff like that about therapy. So this is my therapy office. This is part of it. I decided I was gonna, if we're facing the other way, you're gonna see all of my AC/DC stuff, which I have no problem showing, because that's who I am. This is real. You're gonna see me most of the time in a t-shirt. Again, if I'm facing the other way, you're gonna see all my AC/DC stuff because those are important things to me. I am the same as you guys sitting on the other side. So I keep it real. People ask, what do you specialize in? I don't specialize in anything because to me, then that is excluding people. So I'm going to also meet you like Tanya said, I'm going to meet you where you are. Hopefully. I want to make you feel comfortable because a lot of times people are afraid to come into therapy because of who's on the other side. Now, I also, like, part of my programming when I went to schools, we had to go see a therapist. This guy had this big mahogany desk, sat behind there in a three-piece suit. Was I probably honest with him? No, I just did my time there. I want you to feel welcome. This is, everything that I do in my business is telehealth. So I see your kids. I see your dogs. I see your cats. I'm okay with that. Some therapists, but they don't want any of that stuff. Again, I'm trying to keep it real. So people talk about coming into therapy and, well, what do you talk about in therapy? We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. There are things that, as the therapist, we need to get information in order to give you a diagnosis if there is one. But after some of that initial stuff, and if you want to come in and talk about your partners, great. If you want to come in and talk about what's going on with your kids, great. Your coworkers. It's not always about the traumas that you have been, while you're there. If there was abuse and neglect types of things. We got Tanya joining us here.
I don't know if, yeah.
Yes? Nope. It's a technical difficulty day. So sometimes it's just that you need to be able to have somebody to talk to, a safe place to vent. Again, that can be about anything. It's not that we are ripping off trauma band-aids every single time out there. So again, I try and meet people where they're at, and what they want to talk about. Coming into therapy, actually, let me backstep. Making the decision to look for a therapist is a huge milestone. Finding the therapist, scheduling it, and then actually attending your first session is huge. I have just gotten a whole bunch of new people because it's New Year and everybody's having struggles after the holidays. And one of my guys today said, this was one of the hardest things that he did, was just actually logging in to the therapy session. He said, I went there, I logged out. I went there, I logged out. He says, I probably did this for 15 minutes before I actually came into the session. Therapy is hard. Talking about yourself, talking about your traumas, talking about just taking time for yourself. It's important. So one of the things I also, and I told Tanya that I'm probably not taking the whole 45 minutes, but we're going to kind of open it up for her and I to maybe do a little question stuff. If any of you guys have questions, comments, or stuff like that. But before we do that, I wanted to also, she challenged me. And for those of you guys who know me, this is a big step. One, coming in and actually talking. But two, for the month of February, if there is enough interest, I am willing to do First Day Women's Group in February. It would be 4 sessions each week, so 4 weeks, at a very discounted rate of $100 for the 4 sessions. So that's $25 each time, paid up front. And we are going to talk about boundaries, because I like to help people put boundaries in. Doesn't always mean that I follow my own boundaries, but I'm still working on it. If there's enough interest in that, I will do that, and then I will need you guys to make contact with me through my business, through my email or my website. And then for the month of March, it would be the same thing for guys. If I can get enough guys interested, and I'm going to say that I need at least 3 people, 3 women to do the group and 3 men to do the group in order for the group to be successful. So if that is something that you would be interested in and learning more about about boundaries and how to work on your boundaries, I'm willing to do that. So Tanya, can you put in, or if you want me to, I can do that afterwards. My website is all one word, whisperscounseling.com. I also have a Facebook.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can now.
Oh, talk about technical difficulties. I'm on my phone. My laptop is completely locked up. I'm having a major meltdown over here. So I'm on here. I maybe can put your website in the
Um,
chat, but
I'll
not
do it.
very easily.
That's
I
okay. I'll do
am
it right now.
Okay, awesome. This is carrying over on my phone and I haven't lost anybody, so I'm gonna restart my computer or go upstairs to my husband's computer.
Okay.
So,
So I'm just
yeah,
putting it there.
talk about mild heart attacks.
Well, we saw you on here for a moment. At least I did.
Yeah, that's because I was trying to pull up my phone and then I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know how to put me down from my phone. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I've never used this on my phone. It's like mini me.
Well, it's working. Uh, so in the comments, does anybody have comments or questions or anything else that I could potentially, I'll take those things off. I don't need my bifocals for that. That anybody has any kind of questions.
All right, I don't see any questions either, and I cannot get my prize thingy to work either.
Okay.
Like I am so stuck here. So everybody who's listening right now, just so you know, if I completely lose this stream, or it's in a good place, we're kind of right on break before Rachel comes back. Hopefully Rachel can hear me. I'm going to be going upstairs to try to get this going on a different computer. So if I lose everybody, then just come back at 5:45. What time is it now?
Uh, it is 5:34.
Okay, so all right. Paige, you did so good. And I'm over here going, I don't know how to make this work. My system's having a freak out. So awesome job, everybody. I guess you can go on a walk with me upstairs. Paige, can you take yourself down? I don't know how to take you down from my phone
Um,
here.
I don't.
Well, maybe
I
I
think I
figured
can.
it
Oh,
out. I got
yes,
it.
I can
I
leave the
got it.
studio. It
I
says.
got it. I got it. I got it. All right, everybody. I'm walking upstairs. Take a bathroom break or chat with Paige in the comments.
Yes, thank you. Again, I am. Whew, I'm gonna have to go put some deodorant on after that.
You think you're sweating? I'm over here with the computer having a freak out.
Um, but yes, so
This is real life, people.
uh, it is real life. Just like I talked about in therapy sessions, we got kids in and out, we've got dogs in and out. But if anybody has questions, please let me know. You can. I'll be in the comments. I'm going to stay in and watch the next one for sure, and we'll go from there. And
Okay.
you guys,
I can take you down, Paige. I figured it
okay,
out.
got
Okay.
you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
stalling with me. Bye. Oh. Okay, everybody, let's see if I can roll my commercial. Maybe I can. While I figure this out, oh my goodness. You're only experienced at anything when you've had some crappy experiences, right? Okay, real life. Here's the commercial. Roll that commercial footage. Maybe.
This thing was hot, but it was on and going and showed that it was.
All right. Can you guys, Rachel, can you hear me? Oh, she's not there. All right. In the comments, can you guys hear me? We'll try this on my iPad. It's easier than my phone. Maybe.
I don't know what this means.
Golly, what's... Oh my gosh. Okay, they hear me. Wow, guys, this is not very much fun for me. Not very much fun for me at all. Rachel can hear me. Rachel, I'm going to get you in here. You got to rescue me, okay? Here comes Rachel.
I just passed off my little kerfuffle with
Rescue me, okay? So you take over. I can't find your welcome. Rachel's the best, everybody. You're going to love her. Welcome to my technical difficulties. Take it away. I'm going to try to fix this, and I'll try not to. If I interrupt you, I apologize in advance.
Can you bring up my slides?
Yes, I'll bring up your slides. All right, and I am out trying to be my IT guy.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for coming. And today I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I am passionate about. So a little bit about me is I am Rachel B., the Gutsy Health Coach, and I am recovered from the holistic or from the traditional healthcare. I worked in radiology for over 20 years. And when I had the ability to step back from that for a moment, because we're adopting children. So 5 kids, 2 of them are adopted. And in that process of stepping back and realizing what stress did to me, I knew that I needed to help other people. So in that time of stepping back, I lost 70 pounds. And I'm just really passionate about obesity, blood sugar regulation, and for more than one reason, but one of the reasons is as a child, I was an obese child, dyslexic, and not able to read or write. All that stress consumed me, put in my visceral fat. So as I realize now what went on then, it's very interesting to me, and I am just wanting to share what I know with other people. So what I believe, see if my slides will work. Blood sugar is key. Blood sugar stabilization is key. And I help people that want to stabilize their blood sugar so that they can find balance. And a lot of times people wake up and they are wired, but still tired. And if this is something that you experience, just know that you're not broken, you're just out of balance. And some of the factors with that are stress. And stress is never going away. We just need to figure out how to transform that stress. We are going to be bombarded with all kinds of stress, from life stress to EMFs to things that we cannot control. And how do we manage that? And really focusing on that, and then realizing what stress does to the whole body. So when our body is stressed, our body is then glycating, and we are continually pumping out all that insulin, which then our body is genius, and it stores that excess in our fat. So as we age, especially women, and going through changes of life, we experience stress differently. And on the role of like our ovaries, our job is being transformed to our adrenals, not only just to manage regular daily stress, but to manage the stress of hormone regulation as we age. So these are things that we encounter. All right. So some of the things I like to think of is 6 spinning plates. We talk about hydration, seeing if you are, if your cells are being able to stay hydrated. Are they actually absorbing that nutrients? Do you even need supplementation to fill in the gaps that you're not getting from your food? Sleep is a big one, because in sleep, your body repairs itself. And if you're waking up to pee all the time, you're not getting good sleep. You're just not, because it's breaking up the rest and repair. And stress, how to transform stress, making sure that you're getting the movement that you need. This is just a little checklist of different symptoms that can come up. And as we look at this, we want our body to be in homeostasis. We don't want to have that glycation spike and that sugar crash. So when our body is balanced, our blood sugar is able to be absorbed, and we're able to get the nutrients into our cells like that it should happen. On the flip side, though, if we're continually having those spikes and we're continually having those crashes, and that unstableness is when our cells are not absorbing that nutrients, we're going to store that fat or that insulin in our fat, and we're going to get really puffy. We're going to have bloating. We're going to just be miserable. So prolonged glycation then can cause the release of free radicals and oxidative stress and cellular disease. And if we continue to not have all of these balanced, we are going to then have the cravings. We're going to have the sugar cravings, which then just roller coasters that glycation. And then we end up with metabolic dysfunction and dis-ease. So I like to think of this as the modern day pyramid scheme, where if we continue to have the glycation, we're going to have more symptoms, and then we're going to have metabolic dysfunction, which then follows dis-ease will follow that. And then you're going to have that cellular dysfunction, because if your cells do not have the energy to do their job, they cannot do their job. So I get really excited about all the things. Now, this is just a small list of symptoms, this for that type of thing. And as we go on, and if we continue to have that irregular blood sugar, that blood sugar dysregulation, we're going to have these issues. I'm working two screens, guys, sorry. So Dr. Heyman believes that diabetes can be looked at in 6 stages. And if we don't really acknowledge this, we are, our bodies are already telling us stories lots of time, lots of years, 2 decades before we even see the sugar being an issue. So if we can really monitor it, really focus on it, well, what do you do about it? I believe that if we can nurture our body every 3 to 4 hours, and especially as women go through menopause, this is such a delicate season for women, because if you can nurture your body like it was even a baby, to feed it every 3 to 4 hours, proteins, fats, and carbs, it is going to help that blood sugar regulate. It's going to help the mood regulate. It's going to help you be able to function with not only your husband, but your kids and all the things. So like I like to say, now what? So half the battle is acknowledging it. And then really look at your nutrition. Is there something that you can do differently? And then we talked about eating the proteins, fats, and carbs every 3 to 4 hours. And maybe you just need help. Maybe you need someone that knows a little bit more than you and help you out. And I always say, test, don't guess. And why do I say that is at Purposeful Health, we are a private membership, and we really look at different options. So we look at bioenergetic testing, and we have all sorts of different therapies. And we're going to go over all of these in a minute. But it's not a one size fits all for anybody. So just because someone's, for example, liver's out of balance does not mean that you take this thing. And so that's where the bioenergetic testing comes in, and we can then find where your body's out of balance and what your body actually needs. Is it toxins, or is it just dysfunction? So like I said, this is me doing all the hats at Purposeful Health. It's me as a practitioner, and I see you at the door. I check you out at the door. So this is all the things that I do. And this is the bioenergetics. Oh, my slides are not moving. Here we go. There is me. This is me with doing bioenergetics with a young person. And I see when people say, well, who do you see, or how young or how old? And I've literally seen kids from 3 months to people that are over 100. So the balance information is still the same for everyone. Obviously, you're going to take into consideration all the different things, but the reality is the function is still the same. So we offer a lot of different things at Purposeful Health. We make sure that you're getting good quality water, you're getting clean air, and brain tap here so that we can help with the vagus nerve to help you so that there's balance in the vagus nerve. Because let me tell you, for my personal story, about 3 years ago, I had a brain injury. I fell on the ice twice, not once, but twice, and had the wobble wobble on my brain. And I went from not being able to see people past noon to doing the therapies on myself and different ones. I added some new features. As we go along, I'll tell you those different features that really supported me in my health healing journey. So, and yesterday talked a little bit about the LymStar Pro, and this is our deep lymphatic decongestive therapy, where this is a picture of my daughter just seeing the difference between one session of deep lymphatic decongestive therapy, getting the exits open on her lymphatic system, and being able to see the difference in her face. We have whole body red light and the ion foot cleanser. And it's just really fun to see people experience this healing journey and see how they feel afterwards, because we go from tired and wired to having energy, being able to walk those 5Ks, run them 5Ks, to being active with our family and friends. This is one of the new features that I added into the office after my brain injury, and it was literally game changer for cellular activation. And then the wearable bubble in the middle is earthing and grounding device. I wear one all the time with me. So it goes with me everywhere. And sometimes it's like, do you know if it really helps? Does it really help? So I was in a place that had a ton of EMF activity, and my bubble was not working because I dropped it. And by the end of the day, it was very, very difficult for me to continue on with conversations. My head throbbed. And then by the grace of God, I got it working, and it was literally game changer. You could feel it overnight. And then with the Centropics Cloud, we have the Big Brother Leo. It is brand new to the US, and Plentywood, Montana has one of them. So this is super exciting technology. It is, like I said, high intensity PMF, but it is super customizable. So we can do it on the fly for humans, large animals, small animals. And but you can increase the intensity, you can decrease it, as well as the frequency, the ramp time, all the things. Like, it's so much fun, and it's not harsh to the body. This is just a picture of a glimpse of my shelves. Tanya's been here and she sees it all. So this has been some of the nutrition that we use here, as well as homeopathy and different things. So kind of went through that fast. If this is something that you're even questioning, like, does your gut need help because of sugar dysregulation? Here is a gut quiz that you can take. It's free, and it'll give you your score at the end and tell you how you're doing. And if that's something that you want to do, go ahead and grab that. I did put the link, actual link on there. So if you don't do QR codes, you can do that as well. So if you have questions, please go ahead and let me know. I'm going to stop my share and see how things are going over here.
All right. Yeah, that's me. Oh, I gotta shut off the laptop. Okay, there. That's better. I don't trust my computer battery. It is not working out. So, did you look at the comments, Rachel?
I am just looking at them. Thank you.
Oh, I can't hear you for some reason. Maybe it's just me. Go ahead, talk. They can. I'm sure they can hear you, or somebody would have said.
Well, I hope they would have said.
I can't hear you, but Jen says, where are you located again?
I am located in Plentywood, Montana. So northeast corner, further north than Sydney.
Oh, this is no good. Oh, I know why. Okay, try me now. I had turned off my laptop while I had the other one on. All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Now I can hear you. I had this laptop off. Okay. All right. You looked at the all right, everybody. Oh my goodness. You looked at the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I just had way too many fancy toys hooked up to my laptop, so I took down the extra microphone, took down the extra camera. Whew. Work me through a nervous system reset, Paige. Or Rachel.
And I'll put the link in here if somebody did not grab it.
Yeah, that is so much easier if they've got something that they can click and get it in a window. Do you see that comment about acne?
Did not. Oh. Yeah, there's a lot of different things that could potentially help with that. Lymphatic congestion as well as toxins. And we can do biofeedback and see what that's all going like.
All right. Anything else in the comments? Yeah, she has got a really fun place, you guys. It's kind of connected to that motel, right? Or hotel. And that's still where you're at. It's expansive. Yep. You guys would not believe the fun toys she's got there. It's worth a trip.
Thanks.
Definitely worth a trip. Man, now my phone is just going off like crazy. I gotta see if somebody else. I don't know. It's something else. Okay. Nobody's house is burning down. We're all good. All right, what time is it? Right o'clock, 6 o'clock. Is anything else, Rachel? I'm so sorry that I just goofed this whole thing up for you.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I put the link in the comments. So if you want to take that gut quiz, please jump on it and take it. It's free.
Do it, people. Do it. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. See you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody, real life happening, like loud and humbling over here. Gosh sakes, when you're your own IT person, yeah, learning skills. So I'm up next, and then after me, we will have a gal from Glendive who does amazing things. And I wish that my phone wasn't going off like crazy. Okay, who's still with me in the chat? Rachel did a really good job, and I didn't know that this would like carry through over my phone, and so that was good. Okay, let me see if I can get myself regrounded and back on track. If I can find my notes. Okay. Almost. I don't know why I'm bothering with the notes. I usually don't follow them anyway. Oh my goodness, you guys, thanks for being patient with me. All right, we are kind of talking a little Gen X tonight. Who in the comments is in that Gen X group? Let me see your comments and tell me where you're from. All right, you guys help me out here while I'm stalling. Tell me in the comments what year you were born. Remember that comments mean entries for the drawing. All right, I did find my note. I want to see what you guys are saying. All right, why isn't nobody commenting? Tell me what year you were born, if you're Gen X, or if you are, what's on the other side of it? Baby boomer or millennial? I never really gotten too much into the Gen X, but that's where I'm at. And the more I get there, I guess it's TikTok really that's got me, with the Gen X language. All right, awesome. Definitely some Gen Xers here. How about millennials, maybe a couple, or some people kind of on the borderline where you don't really fit into either one? That's definitely a thing. So, all right, I'm back. I found my notes. I am so honored that you guys are with me and that you're here while I'm being human, while I'm being real and stumbling through this. Tonight's a little different, and it always is different because I don't have someone introducing me. So I'm going to kind of stretch and introduce myself to everyone honestly, in the same capacity that I would introduce other people. My name is Tanya Candee. A lot of people know me as By Nurse Tanya. I'm a registered nurse, a former jail nurse, and the founder of Awaken Wellness. I spent years inside conventional healthcare, long enough to know what doesn't work well, and long enough to know what does work. And definitely long enough to know where it has failed certain people. Now, I didn't come into this work because I was curious. I came into it because my own body was breaking down, my answers weren't working, and I refused to believe that this is just how it is now. This is what aging looks like. And I just had to know there's something else out there than pills and life sentences with diagnosis. So I'm definitely not here because I did everything right along the way. I'm here because I stayed long enough to see what actually works, what causes harm when people rush, when they panic, or when they try shortcut healing. So tonight isn't about impressing you. It's about sharing what I've learned the hard way, so maybe there's somebody out there who doesn't have to. If you're Gen X, if you're tired, if you're skeptical, if you're busy, if you're done being talked down to, you are in the right room. So why the conversation matters. Most people in this room aren't here because they're lazy or here because they're uninformed. Most of you probably know more about conspiracy theories and natural wellness than I do. Most of you have tried things, you follow advice, you push through, you've toughed it out. So you might be here because even through all of that, all of the things that you've done progressively, maybe your body stopped cooperating. That's kind of where I felt like mine was at. When that happens, it's rarely a motivation problem. It's a regulation problem. Throughout the MonDak Wellness Summit, we're hearing so many people on the same page about nervous system regulation, about stress, about slowing down. And it's great advice, but can we take it? Can we take our own advice? Can you go on vacation and go sit around and do nothing? Or do you go on vacation with a full itinerary of running here and running there and doing this and doing that? It can just be almost impossible for a person, and I think it's probably all generations, but with Gen X, I think it hits even harder. Like myself, in Gen X, not everybody, but a lot of us went through the divorce, went through the raising children from one weekend to the next, working 2 jobs. A lot of Gen X with the latchkey kids, right? And people still do it. You still make sure your kids have got the right tennis shoes before you've got organic makeup. We're still putting those choices. As we age, as we go in through the change of life, into menopause, maybe we've got empty nest, and maybe we've got that extra time, we've got that extra money that we feel like we can spend on ourselves, that we can invest in our health. Now, of course, it would be awesome if we could flip that, if we could teach the teenagers and the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds to self-regulate before they get to our place with the, now we're at age 50 and that imbalance and that adrenal fatigue is starting to hit us where we notice. When we're at the place where we went into the doctor for our labs because we feel sick and tired and we know something must be wrong, but we get the report back and the doctor says, you're fine, your labs are normal, and basically says, go home, come back when you feel sicker, right? Right now, the way you're at, you're not sick enough for medication. You're not, you're not unhealthy enough for me to help you. So you leave there feeling like, well, so what? What am I supposed to do with this? A few things I want to just kind of mention today. I want to try to keep this shorter, which if you follow me, you know that can be really hard. I want to keep the conversation a little bit shorter. Last night I got just carried away with myself, but I do want to mention a thing that's called the HPA axis. So the fancy name for that is hypothalamus pituitary, which are master regulators inside your head, kind of right behind your eyeballs in this temple area, and your adrenal glands. So hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal glands. They regulate the body's stress response. And then, of course, there is a strong tie-in with the thyroid, with the liver, and all these things have to be working together. We hear a lot, people throw around the term adrenal fatigue a lot. Like, what does that even mean, right? To me, the easy term is your brake and your gas pedal, brake, gas pedal, and the way your body is able to flex between those two systems, your run, your fight or flight, and your brake, your rest and digest. So throughout our years, that rushing women's syndrome, that is a real thing. If you look it up, rushing, our body gets dysregulated. We keep talking about this nervous system dysregulation. The way I explain that is back to your gate, brake, and your gas pedal. So when we were in our 20s, in our 30s, we had a full gas tank, like you still had some mitochondrial energy, um, and maybe you don't. If your diet's bad, you could be 20 and 30 and you could be already out of gas. That's a thing. But hopefully in your 20s and your 30s, you still have gas in the gas tank. So when you throttle down, you're tired, but the kids have homework. You're tired, but the dishes need to be done. You're tired, but you got to run to somebody's basketball game. You're tired, but your girlfriend's birthday that you have to be there. So in those years, your body's HPA axis is still communicating. It's still working. You push on your gas, you go, you push on the brake. At the end of the day, you can rest. Well, when we keep that up over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, pretty soon when you get to be my age and you go to push on that gas, you think that everything is just going to go, that whatever happens, you can power through it like you used to. Now you push on the gas and your little motor goes, and that is what people will label adrenal fatigue. When your brain says go and your body says hell no. That is all the foundation of what we're talking about every presentation in the summit so far. This HPA axis dysfunction, what happens with that stress response and that not resting, not coming back into that place of safety, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, and your adrenals are not speaking the same language. It's like one is speaking French, one is speaking German, and one is speaking Spanish. And they're lip reading, like they know what they should be doing, but those lines of communication are broken. So, like Rachel gave you some great things to practice tonight already. Paige gave you some great things to practice. We keep talking about deep breathing. We keep talking about slowing down. And isn't it crazy how difficult that really is? I was just telling myself today, I had my red light out. It was a good day. Me and the dog got a little actual fresh air and walk in. That's just my favorite. But still myself in this rushing woman mentality that wants to multitask. I want to enjoy my red light, but I want to listen to a podcast while I'm doing it, or I want to walk on my treadmill while I'm doing it, or I want to jump on my trampoline, because these are all things on my list that I feel like I need to get checked off. So I'm challenging myself to maybe 3 days a week, just sit in front of the red light with the red light glasses on and just sit in calmness. Maybe it's my prayer time, but just to sit with myself. I'm not saying meditate. I personally am not there yet. For me, meditating, if I could get 30 seconds down, in which I could try, but I'm that brain that's got way too many tabs open, right? Like my computer locked up today because I've always got too many tabs open. I'm that person that my brain is like my computer screen, and I use my computer screen tabs open like my notebook. Like, well, I don't want to close that tab because I'm not done with that. I'll lose my place. So get in the comments. Are you with me? Do you have this brain like I do that is constantly just overgoing? Now, I'm going to again reference myself when we talk about, I don't want to point fingers, so I'm just going to point out my own place in this journey, my old shortcomings. I know that this is my next thing that I have to work on. We talked about it last night with the girlfriend getaway, like doing a dopamine reset, doing a no phone, no technology reset. Like, that is a real thing. I said it last night. My name is Tanya, and I'm addicted to my phone. I blame it on business. I blame it on these things that I need to do for business, but I'm addicted to it. Like, straight addicted to it. Every time we have that screen, we have that like, we have that share, it's that little dopamine hit. It's that little pleasure center. And when we've got it maxed out, when we've got it up to this place, we do have to fast from it. We have to take a cleanse from it. And I don't know about you, but especially because my business, if I'm away from my phone, engaged with client care, engaged with family, doing something else, only for a few hours, you come back and there's all these notifications, there's all this stuff that you feel like you have to clear, and you feel like you're running behind. We have a habit, because of all that, where our whole life is kind of gotten that way. And if you are somebody who hasn't let that happen, I just want to say you're amazing. That is amazing and super impressive. Super impressive. Now, that HPA access, back to that, what does that look like? When somebody comes in for a new client consultation, I've got like a little stress quiz that we do that kind of helps me gauge that HPA access dysfunction. How are you sleeping? Are you feeling depressed? Are you having anxiety? Are things that you used to enjoy no longer making you, is pleasure hard for you to find? And that stress quiz kind of gives me a little gauge as to what is going on with that HPA access. With that HPA dysfunction, it can be really hard, even when you're doing everything right, to lose weight. It can be really hard, even if you're doing everything right. And when that HPA axis is out of balance, a lot of times movement is good, but doing too much physical stress is another stressor. Doing too much fasting is a physical stressor at that point. So it's really important to work on that HPA axis. The biggest things that you can do, like we've talked about, is the calming down, is the breathing, and minerals. Good salt, maybe an actual mineral supplement. Your adrenals love minerals. They love vitamin C. So those are a couple of things that anybody can do without having to spend excess money. You may need more of that, depending on, you may need like a glandular. You may need more support depending on your level of stress. Like Rachel was saying, it's really great to do some testing. We can do saliva testing, we can do bioenergetic testing, we can do urine testing to kind of see what's going on with those adrenals. Now, something that kind of fries me a little bit, just kind of makes me want to get on my soapbox just about like protonics and stomach acid, is the thyroid medications. From the medical system, they check a couple of markers on your thyroid. Your TSH, maybe you're free T3, maybe you're free T4. That's about it. And a lot of the times they're normal, even when they're barely normal. Now, keeping in mind that TSH comes from here, this part of that HPA axis. It's a brain hormone. It's not a thyroid hormone. The T4 is what your thyroid puts out. The T3 is what your body needs for usable hormone, and that has to be converted by your liver. So all of these things are super important. When someone comes into somebody like Dr. Keller or Rachel or myself, and we want to investigate these things, we want to know like this many markers about your thyroid, not this many. We want to know what your reverse thyroid levels are. We want to know what you're converting. And then we want to bring that picture in. A lot of times, nutritional deficiency, going back to the minerals, the zinc, the selenium, the magnesium, the iodine, those things they have to be there in order for that liver to convert, that your body needs support. So we want to know what's missing, right? Before we just say, you better go get on some levothyroxine. You better do this. You better do that, right? A lot of people, from the medical perspective, they'll put them on that levothyroxine and they never check their adrenals. And it says, right, if you open up those the directions or the contraindications and all that information that comes with that pill, it says it is contraindicated if you have adrenal dysfunction or adrenal fatigue, but they don't check your adrenals. So that thyroid medication further interrupts this HPA axis. So if you are on a thyroid medication and it was life-changing and you feel so much better, then awesome, that was perfect for you. But if you're on a thyroid medication and you don't feel any better, you maybe feel worse, there's some investigating that could be done. There's some lifestyle management. There's some supplementation that we could investigate. So all of those things go hand in hand when you're having sleep dysfunction. Is it hormones? Possibly. We know that when that estrogen starts to leave the building, crazy things start happening in your body. Myself, I've come to think that a lot of times, is it hormones leaving the building or is it blood sugar? It can be really hard to distinguish between the two, because those blood sugar fluctuations from high to low can absolutely feel like a hot flash. In kids, those blood sugar fluctuations usually show up in their temperament, they show up in their behavior, but don't disregard that in yourself. Hangry is a thing, and most people don't realize it. Something that I'd love to just simple, give it a try, see if it works for you, is one, in the morning, I just take some good mineral salt. I like either Celtic, Baja, Gold, or Redmond. Couple of grains of salt right in my mouth and a glass of water before I do anything else in the morning. Before I do coffee, before I do supplements, before I do anything. If I have one, and distilled water, it's distilled water for me. If I have one non-negotiable that I have been able to put in steady motion and stick to it, that's it. And it's needed. Now, there are other people who will do, they call it an adrenal cocktail, where they'll do lemon juice, salt, and vinegar, maybe, if I remember correctly. And that is, they call it adrenal cocktail. Your adrenals love the vitamin C. So it's fuel first thing in the morning. That's when you're trying to bring your cortisol up. So if you're one that has to have that hot shower, that too is your instinct trying to raise that cortisol. So that's when you want it to come up. You need that cortisol spike in the morning, so you get up and go. It's going to start tapering off through the day, and then going down at night at bedtime. So if you, for most people, especially Gen Xers, if you're going to exercise, you want to do it while that's coming up. You want to do it in the morning in that first zone, because exercising later in the day can respike your cortisol, can make you not ready for bed. So little tips. Another thing is caffeine. I like my coffee. I usually put butter and collagen in my coffee. I am moving towards 30 grams of protein before my coffee. So again, when we just hit the coffee, hit a stimulant early in the morning when we're on empty, your adrenals feel like you're punching them. That to your adrenals feels like a punch in the back, right? You're trying to punch them and get that energy going. So that's my tip. Try the protein first before the coffee, the minerals, the water before the coffee. If you still want to drink the coffee, I'm not against it. Drink clean, organic, mold-free coffee and enjoy it. Enjoy quality coffee. Again, then in the afternoon, if you feel like you're flatlining, when you want to go for the sugar, you want to go for a soda, you want to go for a candy bar or a snack, that signal, that is not your body telling you it needs sugar. That is your body telling you it needs to be remineralized. So again, whether you just do the little salt on your tongue and drink 8 ounces of water and then ask your body what else it needs, or if that was the thing, if that's what it needed. Most of the time it is. You can do lots. Oh, there's so many companies out there that have the little salty sticks. Try that before the next dose of caffeine. That, and again, another 30 grams of protein. We want to, for women in general, your protein goal in a day should be 100 grams. That sounds like a lot, I know. And if you've never measured protein, like a hamburger patty, a third of a pound is 30 grams of protein. So 100 grams is pretty close to eating a pound of hamburger a day, if that's your protein source. So always be thinking about that in the back of your mind. Protein is energy. If you don't have the protein, you become catabolic. Catabolic means a state of breakdown. We want your body to be running fueled and anabolic. So let me find a place to close this down. All of these things, there's a little science there, there's a little common sense there, and if we can put the science and the common sense back together, that's where the habit support, the habit stacks come in. When these things start to make sense to your body, you start to feel better, you start to feel fueled again, right? You don't feel fat, you don't feel bloated, you maybe didn't lose any weight, but you feel fueled. You feel it in your cells at a cellular level. A good methylated multivitamin can really make all the difference in the world. My favorite one right now is from Cellcore Biosciences. It's called Core Nutrients. It's got that iodine, the zinc, the selenium for your thyroid, for that conversion. It's got your B vitamins, all of those that you need. It's even got boron for hormone support. So it's got everything that you need for that liver to work, to methylate the toxins, to methylate the hormones, and support your thyroid, which in turn supports your stress response, which supports your adrenals. So that is it for all my rambling. I'm trying to look at the clock here. All right, I can take 1 second and look at the comments. If anybody has got, I know I was fast and furious because I'm still rattled by this computer shutdown. I'm gonna run the prize, so give me a second here, folks. Hitting the giveaway tool is get your comments in. We're counting the comments. Make sure that in the next session you are looking at those comments or putting in your comments. The giveaways, best case scenario is you can come to Awaken Wellness and pick them up. So we have Stacy Fisher. I love that. I know she can pick up her prize. We will mail things to you that they're the light things, and we will have some offers from the people here at the summit that'll be like coupons that are easier to mail. Stacy, she'll get some good stuff because she can pick it up, so that's awesome. Let me find my notes for our next guest. Oh, you guys, thank you so much for being patient with me. I appreciate it so much. So much, so much. I know, I was just talking so fast. Right, let me find my note for our next guest. I can't wait to have my own personal visit with Mimi Hoff. She does some really neat stuff that I haven't tried before. If you are in our area, she's only in Glendive, so you can totally go to Glendive and see her. But I would like to, this winter, find a chunk of time, a few people who want to it's gonna be her surprise, but to have her come up maybe for the day and have a few people and meet at Awaken Wellness and do this kind of because I'm nosy and I want to see more of what she does. I am so intrigued by this. So that's part of what she does. I'm gonna let her tell you about it. She empowers families to heal at the source by understanding their God-given, bio-unique genetic code. She has got a personal story that is profound, and she will tell us all about it. She walked away from symptom chasing into a world of root cause healing. She uses her business is called Genetic Key. She blends epigenetics, nutrigenomics, chondronutrition, and live blood auditing to help people and families clearly understand their internal terrain rather than guessing or reaching for supplements that you saw on a commercial. She teaches people how to read your body's signals, follow your genetic blueprint as a roadmap, and even with live blood analysis. The MonDak Summit is so happy to have her joining us. I'll bring her to the stage. Are you ready? Come on up, Mimi Hoff.
Hey, how's it going? It's so good to be with you.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. This is a pretty incredible opportunity for both regions of Montana and Dakota, and I just can't believe all that we boast right here. It's amazing.
I agree. Take it away.
Okay, so I'm going to get ready here to share my screen with you all and open my presentation. So give me just one sec. And here we are. Okay. Just 1 second here, folks. All right. Okay.
Okay, do you?
So
we don't see your slides
I am
yet.
super excited to be able to. Can you see my screen okay?
Nope, you have to share it with us yet.
Oh, why is this not sharing? Hold on.
This happened to us on Tuesday night, and I didn't interrupt her, but I caught you early enough. So there's on the bottom of your screen that little plus, the little TV with the plus in it.
Okay.
There you go.
How about now?
Yep, it's coming. It's loading. All right, here we go. Well, maybe not. It's blank. Oh, it's just really slow.
Didn't see it yet?
Yes, it is. I think my internet is super slow. All right, I'm out. You're gold.
All right. So you can see it. You're good to go,
Yes.
right?
Yes, we can see it. Yep. We see your
All
key
right.
insights
And to get you back to the
behind
very best, precision personalized you. This is super cool. This is something I found 8 years ago. It first came to my attention from a sibling, and she had done some epigenetic testing all the way back in 2008. It was during her fertility journey that she was exploring epigenetic single nucleotide polymorphisms known as SNPs. And the first one she learned about was MTHFR. And a lot of people are familiar with that. Some are, some aren't. Some think of it phonetically and they never forget it. But that was the first one that got me going. And here I am today, years later, working as a test provider and a gene coach, which is pretty exciting. So what we're going to cover today, a little bit of my mission, my story, what is epigenetic testing, how do you do it, what is nutrigenomics, what is chrononutrition, the timing and circadian rhythm of ideal times to study or when we diet and exercise, or what meals and when we eat it. It's pretty remarkable because we have clock genes. I'll also talk to you a little bit about live blood auditing and why I dove into that to see gene expression, and talk a little bit about how your epigenetics are accessed through your own personal DNA site, which is super convenient. It's like having a digital dashboard to your health. I want to share with you a little bit about what I do in my gene coaching and how that works, and the testimonials that I've had across time. Of course, is my story, but I'd like to hear a couple of highlights from some of my clients that I've worked with. And special offers for thanking you for being in attendance for the MonDak Summit, so that when we reconvene again to host our next one, you're going to be super excited to bring a friend. So let's dive in. So our mission, health freedom and no more guesswork. We really want people to be able to test, educate, and self-advocate. Each of us has a bio-unique identity, and it's super important that you understand what you need to know about your health and your precision approach in what you choose, because no two people are alike. So we want to educate and help you understand your epigenetic profile. Testing looks at over 11 different categories, and that's really amazing when we get into the nuts and bolts of it. So when we're educated, we really do become a lot more free in what happens with our health. And we become more free because we advocate differently. We get to explore and learn with a gene coach to understand our self-advocacy with precision, and we strive to help you create a personalized plan, and that you can take that and put that into action, backed by lab-based evidence, and that helps build your diet, your lifestyle, your nutrition, lab work, and sometimes even prescriptions. Working with people with genetic testing today, they can access something called pharmacogenomic testing, and that helps you and your doctor take that lab-based evidence once again, where your prescription profile is personalized to your genetics. So everybody is in the wheelhouse of getting the right thing for the right person in the right time. Ideally, we don't need that when we live a nutrigenomic lifestyle and we stay in the healthy zone. So I found that super motivating. Picture over here on the left is my kiddos. We were advocating for the health freedom fight up in Maine before we moved back to Montana 5 years ago. And that segues me into my story. So it was in 2018 when we were living back east in Maine, and some health policies were voted in that discriminated against my family and countless other Mainers who couldn't comply with the bill. That bill was LD 798. And although countless testimonies were given and families were there by the hundreds, and testimony ran until 2:30 in the morning, it really left us out in the cold. And literally, like, I drove home in a blizzard that night going, what are we going to do? And ultimately, the only choice was move home to Montana. come back to big sky country. So here we are. And I am so grateful that our legislature and the people that represent Montanans and also in North Dakota listen to its citizens, and that, you know, this growing and new emerging science is really going to show how the one size fits all just really doesn't work anymore in health care. And so, you know, this grassroots health freedom movement kicked off in the country. We found ourselves swept right up into the middle of it. And I was really super excited that this was the niche that picked us. You don't pick it, it kind of picks you, and off we were. But that's one of my kiddos. They're actually testifying in front of the legislature. And I was one proud mom. Actually, both my children testified that day at the State House. So it was a really empowering experience for all. So moving forward, what is epigenetic testing? So it's a simple saliva swab. That kit is drop shipped straight to you from the lab or from your test provider. That comes with 2 different saliva swabs, 45 seconds in the cheek, and then you return it in a prepaid mailer, and it goes back to our private CLIA certified lab. Now that's really important to share and talk to people about, because a lot of people are familiar with some of the big companies that started with genetic testing, and they think of companies like 23andMe, which is no more. And you know, that for me was not an option that I felt comfortable working with. I really wanted a private lab. A CLIA certification has a lot to do with the levels of privacy and consistency and security that can be delivered for test results. It's the same standards that, you know, agencies like the CIA and the FBI have to use. However, you know, our lab doesn't really service those organizations. So we're a private CLIA certified lab. Your test results take about 4 to 5 weeks. And we use next-gen sequencing, which is actually even more accurate than PCR testing now in the field of genetics. When your results are released, you get an email notification, as well as when the lab receives your swab. Everything has tracking. It's awesome. You can register it under your own name or under an alias, which is fabulous. Some people choose ultimate privacy. The preference is yours. And then when your results are ready, it usually takes about 3 hours of appointment time to go through the 11 different categories of your health that we look at with over 100 different genes to help you understand how to start tailoring your health approach to your specific needs and your current status, your current terrain, as some people like to call it. So it's pretty cool that it's such a simple saliva swab test. One of the things I also love, which is a really growing market for me and my business today, is helping new parents test their children, their infants and newborns. You can test an infant as young as 2 weeks of age. And that's fantastic, especially in those early years where your kiddo can't really tell you, Mommy, my tummy hurts. And new parents explore a lot of unknown, why is baby this? Why is baby that? So, or, you know, say your baby bumps into trouble with, you know, seasonal illness or different issues. It's nice to have a little, you know, personal epigenetic roadmap to dive in and work together with your practitioners. So I love that I get to help with the education and the self-advocacy that this brings. So the testing's super simple. When your results are released, you get a personal DNA dashboard. So you don't have to try to memorize and take notes for every single thing that goes down in the 3-hour intensive report review. It's like learning a new language, literally. I think in the beginning, I felt like I was learning Chinese. I was like, whoa, what is all this? You know, every gene is an acronym. The results are color-coded. If they're green with a negative, it means no increased potential. If it's yellow, which is a single copy positive, just 1 plus sign and 1 minus sign, that's known as heterozygous. And so that might be increased potential. And if you have offspring, it means a 50-50 chance of inheritance. Some genes could be good luck and some could be more challenging luck. When it's red, when it's plus we call that a double copy positive or homozygous, I'm sorry. And when it's homozygous and you have a double copy positive, it guarantees your child inherits a single copy inheritance. And you got one from mom, one from dad. Now, we don't look at, was mom a single or a double? It's not that kind of testing. This is really just focused on you. You get 11 different boxes and categories in here. This is just an example that I kind of cut and paste to stack to give you an idea. But we look at response and recovery, which helps look at cellular and environmental inflammation potential. We look at methylation, like you heard Nurse Tanya talk about earlier. And those methylation pathways are so critical. They are, all kinds of functions in the body, from healthy heart, healthy blood, healthy bones, neurotransmitter conversion, detoxability, and DNA synthesis and repair. But now I'm getting a little advanced. I want to try to keep it simple. Methylation's a big one. It's like your country music song plays backwards when you get a full tank of gas. You get your life back, your energy back, your juju back. Like, it's great. You might even get a boyfriend back, or your dog might love you again. Because when you're not cranky and you're feeling good and you're happy and energized, all is well. But the timing of these things really, really matters. And that's what I love about working with epigenetics, because it's all about the right thing for the right person and the right amount at the right time. Some people will try methylation and they haven't lowered inflammation in their body. And inflammation works like a fire, and methylation works like fuel. And nobody wants to pour fuel on a fire, believe me, because we all know what happens. It's like explosion, and you do not want that happening inside your body because you took the right thing at the wrong time in the wrong amount. So I love that. What's unique with the way that the doctor designed our testing panels is not only does it give you, printed reports and access to all of your results, it gives you a phase 1, a phase 2, and a phase 3 approach. So that really helps build your confidence and knowledge while you're developing your fluency. Once you get all that going, and we're speaking the same language, then it's time to dive into some nutrigenomics and gene coaching. None of these genes work as a standalone. They have an interactive play with one another. Inflammation, of course, can be the root of all evil that turns genes on and off like a light switch, and they start to express. But few of us realize, since this is such a new emerging field, that we can shut those things back off. And one of the areas that excites me the most in this comment area of testing is the neurotransmitter section for our mood, personality profile, how we experience pain, our drug metabolism, our autonomic nervous system functions. But most specifically, mood, personality, anxiety, depression, OCD, ADD, ADHD. All these things live in the neurotransmitters, and inflammation turns these genes on and off. And so when we get further down the road and we get the inflammation handled, that helps our balance, our emotional balance feel better. Ultimately, methylation silences genes and helps us pull out of those realities altogether. So I think it's really remarkable when we look at our diet and lifestyle and the things that trigger our genes to express. There's usually 5 basic categories of inflammation I spend time educating people on. And of course, they're, chronic or acute, and they're pretty much the obvious. But the 5 broad topics are stress. They're not kidding about what stress can do for inflammatory states and realities. It's infections, chronic or acute, and that can include everything from bacterial, viral, mold, fungus, yeast, and parasites is a big buzz these days. Physical injuries or chronic sustained physical stress. We also have toxins, and there's the obvious: food, water, air, herbicide, pesticide. The big one, and you've heard multiple presenters across this summit this week talk about, is EMFs, and that's kind of the sleeping giant. Non-native, lowercase nn, EMF, uppercase EMF, electromagnetic field. And these things really disrupt the batteries inside every single cell of your called the mitochondria, because we are frequency beings. And so mitigating EMF is very important. We look at your mitochondrial profile in the epigenetic testing. There's lots of different ways to increase mitochondrial function. It's absolutely awesome. And that really is significant for helping the healing process, combined with proper methylation and inflammation control. So I love that the nutrigenomics and gene coaching explains the interactions. It's really fantastic. And then sometimes follow-up appointments are things that I have with coaching, even if it's a year down the road. Somebody says, oh, I just went to an annual exam. This was what my lab work results were. You know, can we look at my gene results and let's just cross-reference my vitamin D level with my vitamin D genes in my report, because I have increased potential in both genes, you know, perhaps as a person's profile, whereas another person might just be negative and they don't have increased risk and get plenty of sunlight. So that's pretty fantastic. So it's nice how we can do that for either maintenance or if something's going on, which I really, really love. Now, it's amazing when we do look at lab-based evidence and we have stuck that saliva swab in our own mouth and the lab results come back, it sort of holds our hand in the fire a little bit differently. It's no longer just your practitioner's opinion, but it's your lab-based evidence of what's optimal for you. And being a spiritual girl myself, I call that living in covenant with my God-given code. And so, you know, it did take me a while to realize that as a gluten-sensitive person, that although it doesn't bother my stomach, it sure wreaked havoc on my allergies. To the tune of 5 maximum prescriptions, asthma rescue inhalers, and 12 allergy shots a week for 4 years. And I got out of all that trouble, which is great because I love being free of all that. And I didn't realize that my lifestyle choices with gluten, other foods that are high histamine that cause leaky gut and mast cell reaction, that those things all played a role. And so when we understand our personal profile, you know, the increased benefits with nutrigenomics versus standard nutrition is it's really great because you take these results and you bring them back to your practitioners. Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified to treat, mitigate, cure, replace your physician. I am here to support your education and knowledge because it's such a steep learning curve at first, to take it back to your qualified experts and get really precise and accurate and figure out a plan together with your licensed professional and make the most out of every minute, because these appointments are really tough to either, you know, have them as frequently as we'd like or get in as much as we need in the amount of time that we're allocated. So it really does make a big difference. You know, the key insights inside your genetics with looking at epigenetics makes a big difference for so many things. But just to highlight a few, that, you know, of course, weight loss and obesity management, we look at genes that tell you whether or not you are ideal with the fit to do a ketogenic diet, because some people are not. Some people can gain weight on a ketogenic diet and they might do better actually on a Paleolithic diet. Blood glucose control. Wow, this was huge for my family. We looked at our autophagy genes. How well do our cells clean themselves out? And if they get junked up because it's, you know, the cleaning lady's lazy, then that glucose is free floating in your blood and not getting inside the cell. It just can't get in there. And when glucose is free floating in the blood, we get closer and closer to being pre-diabetic or a type 2 diabetic. Cardiovascular risk reduction, you know, unbelievable changes when you apply the approaches that are in your genetic results to reduce inflammation and increase methylation and optimize your ideal weight. And you can see massive changes in what can happen with adjusting your supports with your doctors to back out of the cardiovascular risks. So to reduce those is phenomenal. There's also, you know, the diet and adherence and behavior change. You know, like it's so amazing how much easier it is when you start to learn what makes you feel good, that it is a lifestyle. It's not a fad diet. It's not because this person tried this diet and they lost 12 pounds you should try it too. You know, like we see these in Facebook group chats all the time, and what works for one does not work for another. And that's what was most attractive to me, is that this really does serve everybody. And chronic disease prevention potential is really incredible, because if we don't know what we don't know, and we just keep blindly walking into the same trouble, you know, it's really hard to get out of these situations, and that we get more symptom care versus source care. So I like people to get to the source. It's really great. Chrononutrition, I mentioned earlier. Chrono is time, and timed nutrition, and how circadian rhythms affect your sleep, how sleep affects healing and wellness and inflammation. If you do not sleep well, it actually increases inflammation. Meal timing is exceptionally important, as well as exercise timing. You've heard Nurse Tanya talk about that and why it's important to exercise in the morning, especially if you're an X-Gen. And work and study timing. Different people's brains like are at peak performance at different times of the day. And I know for teenagers, that's something that, you know, we've seen a lot of discussions across time for kids, and what time they should start high school, and that their clock switches, they're up later, they want to sleep in later, and their peak performance is a little bit later than adults and early childhood. I think it's really amazing when you think about what chrononutrition means, you know, like being out in nature, that sunlight, direct sunlight through the eyes. You cannot have glasses between you and the sun, but, you know, absorbing all of your vitamin D through your eyes comes through early morning sunrise. You know, don't get out there at noon and scald your peepers. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about healthy times of day, early in the morning and late. And it regulates a lot. And the non-native blue light, not the blue light from the sun, you know, disrupts a lot of things. And that controls about 20% of gene expression. That's a lot. So a few things to highlight about what, you know, non-native blue light can do, like from technology devices, tablets, our TVs, all the blue light, right? Even our fluorescents and our, you know, LED lights, you know, oftentimes at night, if I'm working, I will switch to a heavier tint to make sure I protect my brain so I can help my brain unwind and relax, and think about my sleep hygiene, because it really does make a big difference if you get a good quality night of sleep. So the 5 categories that non-native blue light, artificial blue light, you know, of course, vitamin D, that's a big one. So we take a hit with vitamin D, and we also, it affects our hormones, hormone metabolism. It affects our glucose. It also affects any of our weight and metabolic genes, which is really remarkable. And it affects our dopamine. And you did hear Nurse Tanya talk about that earlier, the dopamine hit, putting down the devices, taking a break, making sure that you ground in between, schedule breaks with alarms to turn your, you know, computer off, go outside and stretch, even if it is sub-zero. These things do help. So I talk about that a little bit in what I do as a genetic wellness coach. I'm going to switch back out of these glasses just for presentation's sake, and continue on here. So now, chrononutrition, you can even create a menu. You know, it's really cool. And what's, you know, the peak time window and the epigenetic focus. So between 6 and 10 a.m., we have DNA methylation activation that supports our detox genes, and recommended nutrients for breakfast time between 6 and 10 are folate-rich greens and B vitamins, eggs, and whole grains if you tolerate them. I'm eating grains, but I live pretty much on a Paleolithic grain-free diet. But you know why it matters, it aligns with the clock genes to set healthy expression and reduces aging markers. And a sample meal is like a veggie omelet with spinach and quinoa. So, you know, chrononutrition menus are going to be a really big deal moving forward in the future. We have a lot of things to grow in different areas to accomplish that, because everything is like scheduled from like when the kids eat at school or when you get to eat on your job. And, we're really starting to see with the study of genetics that there's more to it than that. So I think that's super exciting about chrononutrition, and the fact that nature, once again, can influence up to 20% of your gene expression. And that's quite a lot. That's quite a bit. So getting outside nature, scheduling those nature breaks, oh my gosh, it is huge. And for most of us. So it's just a real simple, easy way for a lifestyle tweak for better peaks. So I like that. I like little tweaks for big peaks. So moving on from the chrononutrition, let's see here. I'm trying to get this screen to go. Here we go. Oh, sorry, it was a little slow, delayed. I want to talk to you about test you, just for you. But I want you to think about it this way. Our biography writes our biology. And I had to think about that for a second the first time I ever read it. I read it in a book called Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Miss. And this scientist, this woman, proved that your biography, your story, and peptides create cell tissue. So in essence, positive emotions and positive stories can create positive cell tissue. And the more we, the better. And I love stories of, people who have just made decisions when they've gotten serious diagnosis to say, all right, well, I'm going to check myself out of here. I'm going to go see what the power of laughter is as medicine. And there was a guy literally who, had given a limited time to live, put himself up in a hotel, spent 2 weeks of intentionally laughing to see if it would reset his body. And it did. And he lived. And I always marvel over that story because I never really thought about your body not knowing the difference between genuine laughter or, in the beginning, what might have to be a little forced laughter. So maybe we should all set a timer on our phone to go outside and laugh outside out loud for just a couple minutes and try it out. But anyway, nature's influence, like I said earlier, controls up to 20% of the gene expression, and these precision personalized plans, they really increase your success. Zach was a young man in his 30s, and he was losing his vision. He was going blind, and his mom called me, and they had a expert ophthalmologist, neurology specialist say, we don't know why, end of the line, don't know what else to do with him. Plugged him into this testing, plugged him into a specialist I was able to refer him to. And within 6 weeks, he could see a deer at 200 yards out. And it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. So that was really phenomenal testimony. I couldn't believe the difference it made in his quality of life. Katie was, a woman on an infertility journey who went through unbelievable trials and tribulations, and hers was a long journey of about 22 years worth of challenges. She had numerous miscarriages and knew one piece. She knew the MTHFR piece. She didn't know that she had some clot risk factor genes. And so once we tested it and she was able to take that evidence back to her doctor said, okay, I'm going to send you to hematology. We're going to work with a specialist now that you have that evidence. And they found out that she did need to have injectable blood thinners to sustain her pregnancies. And she has 4 beautiful children. Her first adopted, her other 3 are her biological children. Number 2 and number 3 came through IVF treatment, but number 4 came after the longest duration of her applying nutrigenomics, and her 4th child she conceived as her only natural pregnancy success to delivery, and delivered a month before she turned 45. Wow. So like the power of the body to heal has really impressed me over and over again. I've got another client Stephen, he just beat stage 4 turbo cancer. This was one piece in his puzzle. He clearly had many experts in his wheelhouse and excellent care at the Huntsman. And time and time again, his doctor said to him, "Where did you get this? How did you come across this? This is going to make such a great difference in us tailoring what we need to do for protocols and for your nutrition." And it was immensely helpful. So I was very grateful. And it also helped them catch a very rare seizure disorder they would not have otherwise looked at. So that was fascinating. We have Maggie, who was a little girl struggling with intense anxiety and some struggles at school. They thought she was dyslexic. She wasn't. It turned out that her nerve growth factor genes affected her peripheral nerves, which also affects your eyes and your auditory processing. So her visual and auditory processing presented 98% identical to ADHD, and some audiology support for the classroom for a personal FM device. She prefers a surround sound speaker in her classroom, and I was able to work with her on with her family just to build her 504 plan and give her the supports to optimize her school performance. Today, she's a National Honor Society student. She averages a 4.0 GPA, and her anxiety is no longer in the way socially. So that was a wonderful story. Jake was a really cool story from just this past summer. 42 years old and struggling with high blood pressure, being a little bit overweight, working with a functional medicine doctor. He wasn't, he only wanted to drop maybe 7 or 8 pounds. He didn't have too far to go, which was nice. And so, he took it really seriously. I mean, 3 hours of an intensive report review is some decent studying. You got to be ready to dive in and study and apply this. And you're able to, log back into your own portal after our time together, which is great, and study it further. And there's podcasts and there's all kinds of helpful information to get people going. But he picked up this information, and in 6 weeks he went back to his functional medicine doctor, who looked at the transition in his health, and he said, "My word, Jake, how did you do this?" He's like, "Granted, you guys, your health is a little less complicated than the ladies." He's like, "But I've never seen a guy change his health as fast as this." He said, "If you hadn't done this," he's like, "I was seriously concerned for your heart health and, scared of a potential impending event before age 50. So that was really fantastic, since his wife is pregnant and they're having more children, and he does not want to be messing around with imbalance with his heart health. It's really amazing the different things that I've been able to come across. Pepper is my last testimony. Pepper is a little girl that lives down in New Zealand. I can work internationally. I can work nationwide. I have an office in person, or I can just Zoom and walk people through their reports. And she had a severe eye turn that they couldn't figure out. And by the time we looked at her results, it turned out that it was her heart. And as soon as her optometrist saw the genetic results and the risk factor and associated with his eye, they were able to stabilize it. Today, she's crushing it in school. She's racing in regattas on her sailboat, and she is rock climbing and conquering the world, but battling that eye turn and all the therapy that she had to do. She made wonderful progress with vision therapy, but until the physical impairment of what was disrupted in her health was fixed, they couldn't cross the finish line with it. So it's really important that we consider that. We have different curated wellness packages, which are super cool. And, it can include testing or live blood auditing. I have special offers for summit attendees. I think when I was trying to get this set up, I reversed some slides somehow. But there is a lot of wonderful opportunities in this for each and every one of you. It's so personal, and we need a whole lot more of that. So what have you guys got for questions? That was a ton. I'm like, I hope that wasn't like way too fast. I think my screen's frozen. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that was amazing. If you can hear me, we were kind of on the struggle bus with your audio through your presentation. We got it. I don't know if your internet is slow, but tonight is the tech problem night. But it was amazing. I know I want the test. I want the blood test. You didn't tell us nearly enough about this live blood thing. Come on, dish on that.
I seriously don't know how those slides scrambled, because I had a presentation slide in there for the live blood testing. So that's super easy. I can tell you very quickly.
Okay, tell us slow, because your internet's lagging. Just talk slow.
It's just, you use a Lancet like yesterday all day. Yeah, we've had bad internet problems over here. So you just poke your middle left finger, and one drop of blood goes under what's called a dark phase microscope. And it projects on a flat screen TV with you present to view it with your live blood auditor. And we can see white blood cells, red blood cells, the plasma, the platelets. We can see intracellular infections, microbial infections inside red blood cells. And this is something I see a lot of, and it kind of drives me wild, because it's not fair that our doctors are not set up to be able to run that type of test. They don't look at living blood, and then when they take a blood draw from your vein, they'll put it in a centrifuge, spin it, and then they're looking at the plasma, right? So they're not able to see the red blood cell while it's alive and the microbial activity inside of it. And a lot of people right now, their immune systems are out of balance, especially in this post-COVID era. Oh, I said the dirty word. I almost got through the whole presentation without saying it once. But it so disrupts the immune system that we get yeast overgrowth, parasite overgrowth. We, have fungus that is an overgrowth, or we have viral and bacterial activation. We can see who has leaky gut. I can see all these little uric acid crystals in your blood from your undigested fats and protein. And they're like itty bitty little crystals floating around in the blood, and they love to go to our joints and make us feel really icky. And we do look at those detox genes in our genetic testing. So it's really cool, all that you can see in a live blood audit. And people are welcome to take a picture with their phone. You have to be in person to do it, because the blood only lives for about 30 to 40 minutes. And I have to take a count while I'm examining and scrolling through it. And then you get a little report card. And I think I'm just going to number them instead of give out letters anymore, because it takes people back to bad trauma.
Right? Yeah, it's like you want to know, but you don't want to know.
Yeah. and mostly, I think the hardest thing for a lot of folks is when they actually physically see on my big flat screen TV parasites in their blood.
Yeah, and you had mentioned.
And why is it that we can't find it? Oh yes, you can find Lyme disease by looking at a collection in the molars. Biofilms with tick-borne illness live in the mouth, and that's why
when are we doing
dental work is a trigger as a medical injury. That was that. So it's pretty crazy. So it's pretty cool. When you give me a date, I'll come up for a day. We'll line up a clinic and we'll start looking.
Yes. I don't know if you guys watching can tell. She must be super delayed. Like, I think you're way behind me. So yes, we're gonna get a date. I have Jeannie Gardner in the comments that wants to know the name of the blood test. Do you just call it live blood test?
It's just called live blood auditing.
Jeannie's a practitioner.
I
She's
use a dark
doctor
phase
or nurse
microscope. It's cool. Maybe we'll have to host a practitioner's day first.
Yeah, and Jeannie, that genetic test that she does,
Let's see.
that's something that you could be offering as well. There's she's a part of training that goes with it, and I that's in Awaken Wellness's future. It's on my list of stuff to do. I have access to a couple of tests, but I think hers is way better.
It's pretty cool. I think it's so helpful to both the patient and the practitioner. You know, for me, of course, it's a client since I'm not a licensed medical professional, but you know, it really is wonderful. I've been able to audit or note take for many of my clients' doctor's appointments as well. And then when they're like, oh, okay, Mimi, do you have anything? Because maybe they're at an early learning curve in the language. And I'll say, yes, remember you told me about this symptom related to this gene. You know, what might you be able to offer her to help with this, you know? And people really appreciate that. Some people pick this up really fast and others might need a little bit longer, especially if they're not feeling good, or like our other presenters said, you know, if you have a concussion or a head injury, you know, you need better time and patience. Or if I talk really slow, the feed will catch up. It's no different than our brains. It's like that. Learning this in the beginning, because it is like a different language, but it's so worthwhile to learn.
Yeah. Take a minute and look at the comments. So, and if you feel like you need to type, you can back. Linda is asking about your training. What kind of training do you have? What's your background?
Uh-oh, I lost you a second. Linda is asking, what kind of training do I have? What's my background? So I'm a certified genetic wellness coach. And I did that through the company I offer my testing through Neurobiologics. I was personally invited to become a coach by the doctor who designed it. And so I had to complete his webinar series for training as well as the gene certification. So it's a unique health coaching platform and field. In fact, only within this past year have they even offered a certification for coaches, because it's still so like cutting edge industry standard. It's some of the doctors sat in on appointments with, they're like, a hematologist said, wow, this is like 20 years ahead of how I practice medicine. And he was flabbergasted that my client was there. He's like, how did you get here? Nobody gets here preventively. And that was the client he had to write the blood thinner prescription for. And he was heartbroken. She went through so much before she got to him to have successful pregnancies. So it's a unique field, but I spent 30 years in my former profession as a cosmetologist listening to people's everything. Their sister, mother, brother, other, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and of course their hair, skin, and nail problems. And, you know, my family got into trouble, and fortunately the right information from a combination of clients was put in front of me, and I found this. And so I dove into health and wellness and completely changed my profession midlife. And I love it. I wouldn't do anything else.
You know what I really love? Hopefully this will get to you in good time. Mimi and I have never met in person, but I had called her up. I don't know, you're trying to get registered for the summit or something. We were on the phone for hours, just hours. We just hit it off right away. And what I really love about her is instantly, she's like, Tanya, like, you can get trained to do this. And I instantly was like, I think my stepdaughters would really be into this. They like animals, they like genetics. And sure, she is a all for one for all, and with the mindset that this test is too affordable not to do, and we need more people who know how to do it. Not that these are all my clients, I need all this business. Her mindset is, come on, let's get more people offering this test. Let's get more people doing this. So she was my person immediately with that attitude. Everybody here on this, you're here because you're interested in this stuff, and you're probably wondering, where is your place in it? How can you help people? How can you do something? Well, get a hold of Mimi. If you can put your link, you don't have a website. I had a hard time giving information to connect people with you, so you got to give them something in the comments. How do they get a hold of you?
I will type in my email address and they can reach out. And I will get them started. And I'm offering, I always offer a complimentary consultation, because I first and foremost want to make sure that people are well informed so they can feel if this is what's right for them, if they're ready to dive into this at such a deep and personal level. When I dove into it, we were in a panic mode situation. My 8-year-old sustained a medical injury that caused a stroke-like event, and I knew we were in big trouble. It was pretty frightening. So I actually flew both of my children when I realized they had health issues like this happening that were non-visible. I I flew them to the doctor that designed this in Austin, Texas, from Maine. And so we kind of, walked it out, learning it as a trial by fire reality. And so when I was waiting for my results, I was like scared. I was totally intimidated, like what was going to come back. And I had 4 weeks for my brain that has lots of tabs open like yours. That's called a GAD1 gene. More magnesium, more more N-acetylcysteine, all the goods, right? Like just keep throwing everything at that for that excess glutamate gene. But we are problem solvers and we get other GAD1 brains very quickly. But I love working with clients today. I find it's very important to tell them, listen, everybody has colorful results when your test results come in. Nobody lands in the perfect pile. And the day they come back all green, I'll be like running down Main Street saying, Jesus is back. And I tested him. Everybody's got colorful results. And so what's important to me is that people are looking forward to it with a positive energy, not feeling stressed like I was in the beginning, like what's going to be wrong, and now I see it's a personal GPS system. I would not want to drive from here to Vegas without my personal GPS dashboard on my vehicle. So let's not drive our health like that anymore.
Yes, that's awesome. And for everybody here live on the live and on the replay, when you log in to the replay vault, or if you've logged in so you got access to this, Mimi will get your email. I'm going to share it with you, and she's going to follow up. She's going to send out an email with her contact information and her offer, so each and every one of you get to hear that. I think, Mimi, we might get together later when your sound is better and re-record this for the replay vault, because your heart, your information it is priceless. It truly is. So we will be getting that live blood test going at Awaken Wellness very soon. And again, we have all of your emails, so we will let you know when that's happening. Does anybody else in the comments have anything they'd like to throw at her before we close for the night? Going once, going twice. No? All right, I'm going to
That
let
means
her.
I get to answer in person.
Oh, and she can talk forever. Are you sure we want to let her go? Good night. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much, everybody who was here and who gave me grace and understanding through these technical difficulties. You know, the internet is such a blessing, absolutely such a blessing. It can be a little stress inducing every now and then, but you know what? We got right through it and we're all going to be better for it. So I definitely will get together with Mimi and have her record that. Sam's here as well, who we didn't have her slides. We'll get together and the replay is going to be even better than this. So thanks again, everybody. Share the invite with all of your friends. The replay access is always there. So if you are loving what you've heard, go to my website for the summit. Go find all of these people on their social media. That is the best way that you can support a small business, is help them get their stuff out. If they're on YouTube, subscribe, like. If they're on Facebook, subscribe, like. When they comment, get in those comments and just say something. For social media, it takes 5 to 10 words. So that is the best way that you can tip everybody who's been here pouring into you. Like, follow, share. Every comment matters. I can't stress that enough. And that's the way you show them some love back for the love they're showing you. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow at 5. Good night.